Mile told my husband that I'd trapped him with a baby after years of infertility. He said, "She's just old-fashioned." I was still in recovery when she whispered, "This should have been your sister-in-law's baby." I started documenting every word. 4 years later, I played those recordings at Mediation when she sued for visitation. She never spoke another word in my direction again. I never thought I'd be one of those women with a mother-in-law horror story. When I met Nate, his mom Patricia seemed strict but polite enough. We lived in Portland, Maine. Small town vibe, even in the city. He worked in software. I was a dental hygienist. We met through mutual friends at a game night. He was funny, smart, dependable. We dated 2 years, married in 2016. Life felt easy back then. But infertility isn't something that just happens to other people. Not when it hits you. We started trying for a baby about a year into the marriage. Nothing. At first, it was hopeful: ovulation tests, charts, apps. Then came the doctors. The blood work. The sperm analysis. The invasive procedures. Each month brought more pressure. Patricia started asking questions around year 2. "When's the baby coming? What are you waiting for? You're not getting any younger." I would smile, excuse myself. Nate would change the subject. I thought it was annoying, not cruel. I didn't know it would get worse. By year 3, I was in a dark place. I'd miscarried twice. Once at 9 weeks, the other barely made it to 6. I still have the ultrasound printouts. They're in a drawer I never open. Patricia made a comment at Thanksgiving that year. She raised her wine glass and said, "To next year's grandbaby, God willing. Maybe through Danielle, if not elsewhere." Danielle is Nate's brother's wife. She was younger, just had their second baby. Everyone laughed like it was a joke. I didn't. I found a quiet room and cried. Nate found me. I told him what she said. He kissed my head and said, "She doesn't mean it. She's just old-fashioned." That was always his excuse. The next spring, we did IVF. Our first round failed. 1 egg. Poor quality. Didn't make it past day 3. Second round gave us 2 embryos. 1 stuck. I was terrified. I couldn't sleep for most of the first trimester, convinced I'd wake up bleeding. At 20 weeks, we found out we were having a girl. I sent Patricia a cute little ultrasound picture in a card. She didn't respond for 3 days. When she did, she texted, "Let's hope she actually makes it." That was her exact wording. I showed Nate. He frowned, said it came off wrong. That she probably meant well. I said, "She thinks I'm faking this, doesn't she?" He didn't answer. I gave birth via C-section. It was rough. My blood pressure dropped. I was shaking uncontrollably. I remember hearing Lily cry before I passed out. When I woke up, I could barely breathe. Nate was crying. Said she was beautiful. Healthy. I was in and out for hours. Patricia came the next morning. Nate had stepped out to take a call. She walked over to my bed, looked at Lily in the bassinet, then leaned in close and said, "This should have been Danielle's baby."
Just like that.
No warning.
No emotion.
Just dropped it on me like she was giving the weather. I couldn't respond. I couldn't even cry. My throat was raw. I just stared at her. She patted my arm and said, "You'll get stronger. Don't worry." That was the moment something snapped.
I didn't yell.
I didn't fight her. I smiled the next time she visited. I handed her Lily like nothing happened. But I started documenting everything. First, I used my phone. Then I bought a small voice recorder. Eventually, I found a nanny cam online that looked like a phone charger. I placed it in the living room during visits. I didn't miss a single insult. Patricia kept talking. "She's not cut out to be a mother. Lily deserves a more stable home. Danielle's raising real children. This one's probably going to grow up with issues. Just look at her mother." I organized the files, dated them, logged transcripts. I built a timeline. I showed none of it to Nate. Not yet.
Why?
Because he never took my side. Every time I brought something up, he said, "She doesn't mean it that way." Or, "Let's just be the bigger people." He told me, Don't start drama.
So, I didn't start drama.
I collected evidence. When Lily was 2, I started limiting visits. Patricia didn't like that. She started calling more, dropping in unannounced. Once, she actually screamed at me through the glass front door because I wouldn't let her in. When I threatened to call the police, she said, "You won't. You need me." That was the last time she saw Lily for over a year. Then came the lawsuit. She filed for visitation rights under Maine's grandparent laws. Claimed I was withholding Lily out of spite. Claimed we used to have a close bond, that she helped raise her.
Lies.
Nate begged me not to escalate. "She's grieving Dad," he said. "She's not well. She just wants to see her granddaughter." I said, "Fine. Let's go to mediation." He looked relieved. I didn't tell him what I planned. That day, I walked in with a binder and a thumb drive. Her lawyer looked smug. Then I hit play. First tape was her whispering over my newborn, "This should have been Danielle's baby." Then, "Your mommy is selfish, sweetie. She tricked your daddy into this life. One day you'll realize who really loves you." I watched her lawyer's face drop. He asked for a break. The mediator said, "This changes everything." Patricia didn't say a word. Not then. Not after. The case was dropped.
Fast.
Her visitation request vanished like it never happened. She hasn't spoken to me since. Not at birthdays. Not at holidays. Not even when we end up in the same room. She looks through me now like I don't exist. And honestly, that's exactly how I want it. The fallout didn't stop at mediation. Patricia went silent, but Nate didn't. He came home that night tight-jawed, eyes red, threw his keys on the counter and said, "You ambushed her." I didn't even look up from the sink. She filed a lawsuit. "You didn't tell me you were recording her." I didn't think I needed your permission. He shook his head. "She's my mother, Jenna. And I'm your wife. And that's our daughter. She's old. She was hurt. You humiliated her." I turned to him. "She humiliated me. For years. She called our daughters a mistake. Said Danielle should have been her mom." He didn't deny it. He didn't defend her. He just stood there, quiet, and said, "I wish you'd handled it differently." That hit harder than I expected. Handled it differently? I gave her every chance. I kept quiet for years. I let her hold my baby. Let her poison our home with backhanded comments and fake smiles. And now I'm the problem? It changed something in me. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I pulled out the folder, my folder, and handed it to him. "You read it. All of it. And then tell me I should have handled it differently." He didn't touch it. The next few weeks were cold. We still lived together, still parented, but the warmth was gone. Conversations were short. He slept on the couch 3 nights a week. I'd find him scrolling his phone in the dark, probably texting his brother or Patricia. He wasn't cheating. That I knew. But he was resenting me, and that hurt more. And then something happened that twisted the knife even deeper. Danielle called me. Out of nowhere. "I need to talk," she said. "In person." I agreed, mostly out of curiosity. We met at a coffee shop off Forest Avenue. She looked tired.
Pale.
No makeup. Hands shaking. "I didn't know," she said. "About what Patricia said." "About what she did to you." I said nothing. I mean, I knew she didn't like you. She's always made comments. But I didn't know it was that bad. I nodded slowly. "So, why are you telling me now?" She looked down. "Because she asked me to file for visitation next." I blinked. "What?" "She came to my house last week. Said she needed me to carry the torch. That since her case didn't work, maybe I'd have better luck." "But you're not even related to Lily." "I know," she said, embarrassed. I told her she was insane. But she said something else. "Something you need to hear." I leaned in. She said she made a mistake letting you win. That she should have fought harder. That she's not done. And then she said, and I quote, "That girl's going to lose everything. Just wait." I sat back, heart pounding. Danielle continued, "I think she's going to try something. I don't know what. But I'm telling you because I've got 2 girls of my own. And if someone said that about me, I'd want a warning. That night, I installed a second nanny cam, this one in the entryway. And I started checking our credit reports, my social, anything. I didn't trust Patricia. And now I wasn't sure I trusted Nate either. 1 week later, I found out what she meant by lose everything. She filed a report with Child Protective Services. Claimed I was emotionally unstable. That I yelled at Lily. That I locked myself in rooms and left her alone. That I'd threatened suicide. All lies.
But they sent someone anyway.
A knock on the door. A woman with a badge. She introduced herself gently, said she had to ask questions. Lily was playing in the living room. She was happy. Healthy. The house was clean. There were toys. Food in the fridge. Still, they had to open a file. I showed her the recordings. The logs. The lawsuit. She looked stunned. I've never had a case like this, she said. I said, this is revenge. This is all it is. She nodded. I believe you, but I have to follow procedure. They interviewed Nate too. He told them I was a good mother, that I'd never done any of those things. But when I asked him why his mother would lie like that, he said something that nearly broke me. She's just scared of being cut out. That was the moment I knew. He'd never choose me. Not really. He wanted peace more than he wanted truth.
And now, I had a whole new fight on my hands.
2 weeks after the CPS visit, I got a letter in the mail. From a lawyer. Patricia had filed for emergency grandparent visitation again, citing a mental health investigation by CPS as justification. She attached the open file, even though CPS hadn't found a single issue. But to a judge who only saw paperwork, it looked like smoke. And where there's smoke, I lost it. I sat on the floor in the hallway with that letter in my hands, shaking so hard I dropped it twice. My daughter was napping upstairs. The house was quiet, but inside, my brain was screaming. Nate came home late that night. I didn't wait. I handed him the letter. She filed again, this time using CPS. He read it.
His face stayed blank.
Well, they didn't find anything. You'll be fine. You don't get it, Nate, I snapped. She's trying to bury me. She's never going to stop. She's just desperate, he said softly. I stood up. She's dangerous. And you still won't say it. Silence. Then he whispered, she's still my mom. That was it. I packed a bag that night. Took Lily and stayed with my sister in South Portland. I didn't say a word to Patricia. I didn't even leave a note for Nate. I was done talking to people who didn't listen. The next morning, Nate called. I didn't mean for it to go this far, he said. Please come back. I said no. That week, I found a new lawyer. A good one. We filed a formal response to Patricia's petition with every single recording attached, including the latest CPS stunt. I also had Danielle write a signed affidavit about Patricia's threats. The next twist came fast. My lawyer called me one morning, almost breathless. We just got notice that Patricia's lawyer filed a motion to withdraw from her case. That doesn't happen unless something went seriously wrong. I asked why. She made threats. To the mediator. Left a voicemail saying she'd make sure this little bitch never raises that child alone. That was it. The nail in the coffin. The court ordered a psychological evaluation. Patricia refused to comply. And then, she disappeared. No more filings. No more calls. Nothing. But it wasn't over. Because Nate showed up at my sister's house that weekend.
Drunk.
He stood on the porch swaying, crying. She ruined everything, he said. She turned me against you. I didn't answer. Just stood in the doorway. I miss you, he whispered. Please don't take Lily away from me.
I'm not, I said.
But I'm done protecting you. He sat on the porch steps and cried until he passed out. My sister and I carried him inside and let him sleep on the couch. He woke up in the morning ashamed, quiet, hungover. But I told him the truth. I'm filing for separation. I need space. I don't trust you. He nodded slowly. I deserve that. Then he gave me a flash drive. I made this. I recorded a call with her 2 weeks ago. I didn't ask him why. I just played it later, after Lily was asleep. The audio is scratchy, but clear enough. Patricia's voice, sharp and bitter. You're weak. I told you years ago, she wasn't right. She tricked you. Then, if you don't take that girl away from her, I will. Then Nate, voice low. You already tried. And you lost. She hung up. I saved that recording. And for the first time, I felt like I had control. But this war wasn't done yet. Because something else was about to blow up, and this time, it wasn't about me. 2 weeks later, I got an unexpected call from Danielle. Again. But this time, her voice was different.
Rushed. Panicked. Hey.
I need to tell you something. I don't know who else to call. I stepped into the garage so Lily wouldn't hear me. What's wrong? It's about your husband. And my husband. My stomach dropped. What about them? They've been meeting up with her. With Patricia. I sat down hard on the cold steps. What do you mean? I mean, she said, voice tight, my husband came home last night drunk. Said Nate is trying to work something out with Patricia. To help her see Lily again, behind your back. I didn't breathe. I couldn't. I thought Nate was on my side. Danielle hesitated. I think he wants both. You and her. And he thinks he can keep her calm if he lets her think she's still part of Lily's life. Even if he has to lie to you to make that happen. My vision blurred. I thanked Danielle, hung up, and pulled up the shared iCloud login Nate still had on my laptop. I had set it up before we got married, old habit. We used to sync photos and calendars. I checked his location history. 3 visits to his brother's house in the last 10 days. 2 nights after Patricia's lawyer had quit the case. I checked his texts. He hadn't deleted them. To his brother, I just need to get her to calm down. If Jenna finds out, it's over. To Patricia, please just trust me.
Let me talk to her.
She'll come around. I sat there in the dark garage for almost an hour just reading. Rereading. He had never really left her side. Even after everything. Even after that voicemail. Even after CPS. Even after the lawsuit. He was still trying with her. Like my trauma was a hurdle for him to work around. Like I was the problem for standing in the way of their perfect little family fantasy. I called my lawyer the next morning. I want full custody, I said. I'm done negotiating. She didn't even ask why. She just said, let's get to work. We filed the motion that week. When Nate was served, he showed up at my sister's again. Not drunk this time. Just angry. You're making this worse than it needs to be. I'm protecting my daughter, I said. She's my daughter too. Then maybe you should have protected her from your mother. He had nothing to say to that. But I had more. I told him I knew about the visits. The messages. The plan to let Patricia see Lily behind my back. He tried to spin it. I was just trying to keep the peace. You don't make peace with a person who tried to destroy your wife. He left that night and didn't come back. But the damage was done. The court date for custody was set. Patricia still hadn't shown her face. But I had a sick feeling in my stomach. Because people like her? They don't disappear quietly. And I was right. 1 week before our hearing, I got a message from a block number. A video. It opened to Lily. Playing in the backyard of our old house. A voice, faint, off camera, whispered. My sweet girl. Grandma misses you. I dropped the phone. Ran outside to check the yard. Nothing. No one. But the panic stuck. She had been watching us. Recording us. Sending messages. The next morning, I filed for a restraining order. It was granted in 48 hours. Police were notified. CPS was rebriefed. And I doubled my home security system. But the fear? It never really left. Because when you live through a war like this, the silence afterward doesn't feel like peace. It feels like a warning. And I still wasn't sure how it would all end. The final hearing came on a gray Tuesday morning in Cumberland County Court. I wore black. Not for drama. For control. I needed to feel solid. Nate was already sitting inside when I walked in. He looked tired. Hair uncombed.
Pale.
but not sorry. Just worn out. His lawyer gave me a polite nod. Mine didn't bother. Patricia wasn't there. Not physically. But her presence filled that room like smoke. Her name came up over and over through transcripts, phone records, videos. My lawyer laid it all out with clinical precision. The judge flipped through the stack of printed screenshots. Heard the audio files. The one where Patricia whispered to Lily, "One day you'll live with Grandma. I promise." The one where she told Nate, "Take her. Take Lily. I'll back you." Then my lawyer stood. "Your Honor, we're not just talking about a toxic grandmother. We're talking about a campaign. Years of emotional sabotage, intimidation, and now covert stalking behavior. And through all of it, Mr. O'Hara stood by and enabled it." Nate flinched, but he didn't interrupt. Then it was his turn. His lawyer tried to pivot. Nate was put in an impossible position. He was grieving his father. He tried to mediate peace between the two most important women in his life. But I'd heard enough. The judge paused. Then he looked right at Nate. "Mr. O'Hara, you've been passive in the face of abuse. That passivity endangered your child's emotional well-being. You chose silence over protection." Then to me, "Ms. Grant, you were right to act. But your secrecy created distance in this marriage. This court sees two people who loved poorly, but one who clearly protected their child." The ruling? I was granted full legal and physical custody of Lily. Nate was allowed supervised visitation. 3 hours a week in a monitored center. No overnights. No holidays. And Patricia? The restraining order was extended. 5 years. If she so much as mailed a birthday card, it would be a felony. The judge stood. That was it. The war was over. But endings don't come clean. Outside the courthouse, Nate caught me in the parking lot. "She broke me," he said. "You don't know what it's like, growing up under her." I looked him in the eye. "Then you should have fought harder to keep her away from your daughter than you did to please her." He nodded. But he didn't apologize. And I didn't forgive him. That weekend, Lily and I moved into a new place, closer to my sister, smaller but ours. I changed her school, got a new daycare, made it as if we'd never been part of that family at all. One night, months later, I found Lily looking at a photo album, a picture of Nate holding her as a baby. She looked up at me. "Is Daddy a bad guy?" I crouched beside her. "No," I said softly. "He just forgot how to be brave." She nodded. Closed the book. We moved forward. But I kept the binder. The flash drives. The recordings. Not out of bitterness. Out of proof. Because someday, Lily will grow up. She'll ask questions. And I'll answer them all. Truthfully. Because I don't want her to just know I loved her. I want her to know I fought for her. Even when it cost me everything else.